of the 1997 Constitution and the standing orders of the National Assembly throughout the session. And I thank you all for your attention. Thank you. Clerk, we may proceed.
Correction and approval of votes, of records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Thursday, 24th September 2020.
Thank you. Honorable members, the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Thursday, the 24th of September 2020 is before us for correction and approval. Can any honorable member please move that the said record of votes and proceedings be considered and approved? Yes, Opa Nyomi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, I rise to move that the correction and approval record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sittings of Thursday, 24th of September.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, point of observation.
Please, if you
the record of votes and is reading on the 24th of July 2020, not September, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, but if you, as I always say, if you need the floor, and I always say, if any honorable member wishes to take the floor, please, you request from the chair. We cannot just be standing up and speaking from the seat. Let's respect the protocols, please.
They made a mistake then.
Can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, honorable member for Kiang West. Pardon? Second motion. Thank you. Thank you very much. It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Thursday, the 24th of September 2020 be adopted. Any corrections or observations from honorable members? Please, please, can we have some order, please? Can we?
Madam Speaker.
Can you move this?
Can I come in, Madam Speaker?
Sorry,
I'm still insisting that it's on the 24th of July, not September, Madam Speaker.
Maybe your record
is a mistake. It will be amended. It should be September.
Yes, you just amend it. You can raise your amendment and it will be amended. You can raise your amendment and it will be amended. Can we start the corrections, please? From the cover of the page, honorable nominated member, the cover of the page, you can raise your amendment.
Madam Speaker, it reads 24th of July 2020, not September 2020, Madam Speaker.
But please, can you take note? Let the front page be amended accordingly. Yes. And then we move on to page 1. Any corrections, amendment, observations on page 1? No? Page 2? Yes, Sani Mentoring. Page 2. Can we please check the attendance?
Madam Speaker, my name is not captured in both the present and the absent.
Can you move over to page 2? Confirm on page 2. Honorable, please, can we address the chair? Yes, can you confirm on page 2 whether your name is not there? Page 2.
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Okay, very well. Please, table office, can you take note? Yes. Nyamina West. Sorry.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I just want to suggest that, like the correction made by the nominated member, because it is appearing in the subsequent papers. So wherever it is, let us consider it as amended.
Yeah, that's the amendment we should make, that wherever July appears,
yes,
it will read September. Thank you. Please take note. Thank you. Fonyi Bintang.
Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, my constituency name is Fonyi Bintang Karana, but it's always written Fonyi Bintang only for purpose of correction. Fonyi Bintang Karana, because that's what is in my tag, but they always write Fonyi Bintang. Yes. Yes.
Brevet, but it has now been corrected. So we'll ensure that Fonyi Bintang is also corrected. Thank you. It's human to. The attendance, are we satisfied on page 1? Page 2. Continuation on page 3. Yes, Joe Kadu, honorable member.
Thank you very much, Ma. Number 53, they wrote only Jokadu, but the name is not there. Thank you.
Honorable member for Jimara, your turn.
No, thank you. That's where I wanted
That's
to come
what
up.
you wanted to bring up. Okay, very. Alum,
Yeah, page
Page
3.
three.
Yeah, page 3. Honorable Amadou Kamara was present and he was indicated absent. Nyanija, yes.
okay, thank you. Any more on 3? Any more corrections on 3? Okay, page 4. Page 4. Yes, Cantora.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The last line where it reads, the record of voting proceedings of the National Assembly sitting on Wednesday, 23rd September 2020 was adopted with amendment. It should stop there, but they went further, say, as true record of votes of the proceeding again. So I would propose that it stops there as well. Yeah, thank you. It's consistent, yeah.
Any corrections on page 4? Okay, page 5. Yes, honorable member for Basse.
Madam Speaker, thank you. After the list of names who have taken the floor, the Honorable Minister of Health responded to issues raised on the contributions of the honorable members. Thank you.
Anything else on page 5? Any corrections on page 5? No? Okay, page 6. Yes, honorable member for Woolly East.
Thank you. On the motion, the first line, the honorable member for Woolly East moved. We should put moved.
Any more on page 6? Honorable members? Okay, page 7. Yeah, Upper Salum.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. If you check motion 3, the honorable member for Upper Salum West, we don't have that here. What we have is Upper Salum only. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Woolly East.
Yes, page 7, that's what we are dealing with. The first paragraph, it has been moved and seconded that the committee stages of the following bills, under-mentioned bills. So we just say following under-mentioned bills. You've seen it? Thank you.
Very much. Lower Fuladu West? It was the same corrections, yes, thank you. Anything again on 7? No? Okay, page 8. Yeah, Upper Salum.
Yeah, on the first line, it says, those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. Then it says, the ayes, noes have it. So I'm not sure. So only one have it, the ayes have it, yeah. Yeah.
East.
Yes, the second paragraph, under the ayes have it, you said the above mentioned bills should be are instead of is. Is hereby extended if you want to.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. The committee stage of the above mentioned, the A shouldn't be in capital, should be in small letter as well. Thank you.
Colleagues, can you look at it again? Is the committee stage of the following mentioned bill is the committee stage which is hereby extended, not the mentioned bills. The committee stage.
Are we addressing the chair or?
I'm consulting the member.
No, you address the chair.
Okay, now, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I was consulting the member where he said, the committee of the above mentioned bills. Are you referring to the committee stage being extended or is the bill that had been extended?
Yes, honorable member, honorable speaker, it was actually the bills that were extended, not actually the committee stage, because they were never completed. There was no report before the committee, the assembly. So it was the bills that were extended and not actually the committee stage. Thank you.
Honorable, everything will be sorted out, but your concerns are well noted together. Thank you very much. Yes, Awuli West.
I remember the member correct. The member for Basse is correct. It is, not are. It's the stage that is extended, not the bills.
Thank you. As I said, concerns are noted and it will be sorted out. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any more on page 8? No? Okay. Page 9 then. Yes, Woolly East, page 9.
Page 9, the first line, there are two different spellings of Honorable Nde Yasin. Is it Y-A-S-S-I-N or Y-A-S-I-N? We should adopt one. Honorable.
Yes. Thank you. Any more? Any more on page 9? Honorable members? No. Page 10. So, page 10, Lower Fuladu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Motion, the first paragraph. The first paragraph. The Honorable Member of Banjul North, in accordance with clause 53R and 66(4) of the standing orders, moved a motion for the committee stages of the under-mentioned bills to be extended until the 4th ordinary session. Session is missing there of the Assembly. Thank you.
The same line, Madam Speaker, the honorable member, is it off or for Banjul? No. The honorable member for the same line. The same line. Honorable member for Banjul North instead of off Banjul North.
Yes, I'm making a proposal wherever the section is omitted, because it's repeating itself in pages after page, subsequently as well. Thank you.
Yes, when you go under motion 7, second line, moved a motion for the bill entitled, the bill is missing. And then the last line, like he is saying, the same thing. We keep.
Lower Fuladu, West, page 11.
Yes, page 11, first paragraph. The Honorable Member for Serakunda, in accordance with clause 53R and 66(4) of the standing orders, moved a motion, A, for the bill. A should be omitted out, for the bill entitled Public Services Pension Bill 2020 to be extended until the fourth ordinary session of the Assembly. Thank you. A should be omitted out.
Thank you. Any more on 11? Yes, Jara East.
Yes, it should have read pensions as opposed to pension. Pensions bill. Thank you.
I am not with you.
It says pension bill. I said it should have read pensions as opposed to pension. S should be there. Pensions bill. That's what you have on the bill.
Because I see it referred 3 times also. That's why I wasn't sure what you were actually, which one you were referring to. Page 11. No, yes, Lower Salum. On 11? Yes. Your microphone, yes. Thank
Honorable Member for Serekunda, the way they spell Serekunda is E-R-R-E. The R is missing there.
Yes, table office will take note. Thank you. Still on page 11. Yes, all you do.
It's just an addition, Honorable Speaker, under motion 7, where it reads, move a motion for. I'm suggesting there should be the bill entitled, not for bill entitled.
Thank you. Any more on page 11? No. Page 12. No. Page 13. Yes, Anne Mentereng. Thank you.
First paragraph, the Honorable Speaker further informed the Assembly, not further.
Any more corrections on 13? Then we move to 14. Page 14. Yes, Woolly East.
Just the second paragraph, last line, it said on the other paper. So I suggest we put in the other paper instead of on the other paper.
What is your correction?
Okay. Oh, I concede. They said it's correct.
Member for Jimara, 15.
Thank you very much, Ma. The assembly resumed at 3:30. The second paragraph, the Minister of Local Government, Land and Regional Government, but the government is missing.
Lower Fuladu.
First paragraph after the list of the names. At this juncture, the Honorable Speaker, relying on clause 13 of the standing orders, suspended the sitting for prayers, for prayer time and lunch break. Under should be omitted. Relying on. Should be omitted. Under should be omitted. Speaker relying on clause 13, not speaker relying on under clause 13. And also standing orders. S should be added to orders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more on page 15? Any corrections? 15, 16, 16. Yes, all you do.
It's just to delete Vice President response and then have it like respond to issues raised. And then we delete the S.
Even sure, now reading it, whether it makes sense. Question put and agreed to, it has been moved and seconded that the Vice President responds. Where are our teachers? Yes.
Respond. Respond without S.
Where it says question put and agreed to, it has been moved and seconded that the assembly sit beyond. I think the other sit beyond should be cancelled. Thank you.
Cantora.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Where it read, Her Excellency, the Vice President took the podium and responded to some of the issues raised by Honorable Member. We can add S, Honorable Members, as well. Yeah, no. Yeah, Honorable Members, member, should be members instead of member. Thank you.
Yeah, 17, sorry. Yeah. Adoption of the president's speech. I think the apostrophe should be between the T and the S.
Thank you. 18. Nyani, honorable member for Nyani.
Yes. 17. Yes. Question put agreed to. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. They just put no. And if you go down also, the same thing. Yes, before the ayes have it. Those not in favor, please say no. But they said that please say no. Please no. Yes. And down also, the same thing.
Olyundum.
On 17, Honorable Speaker. Yes. Question put and agreed to. It has been moved and seconded that the Assembly tasked the Vice President to coordinate the rest of the Cabinet to produce respective reports, not respectively, as response to the Assembly in response to the issues raised. I don't know how do we connect this one, because you're talking about two things here.
I would suggest the table office takes a second look at the sentence and try to bring it in line.
Okay.
Sabah Sanjal, yes, that was it.
It's okay, that was my observation.
So are we done with 17? Okay, we move to 18 then, page 18. Yes, honorable member for Ilyasa.
I'm sorry, but taking you back to number 16, page 16. I'm sorry, taking you back to page 16. The honorable member for Badibu Central, it should be Central Badibu, not Badibu Central. It should be Central Badibu. Thank you.
East.
We are dealing with page 18, isn't it? Page 18. Yes, collection put and agreed to the first line. Look at it carefully. It has been moved and seconded that the time for members' deliberation to be limited to 5 minutes. So I suggest it has been moved and seconded that the time allocated for members' deliberation to be limited to 5 minutes. That would be better English.
Madam Speaker, thank you for consistency purpose. I am on 18. For consistency purpose, if you want, I can take you to page 5 and 6, then 13 and 15, and show you the problem, if you agree. If you look at, we read here, the honorable member for Jimara seconded the motion and took the opportunity to make his contribution. If you turn the page, the following members who took the floor, you can see his name is mentioned, Alajiso, Honorable Alajiso Jimara. But if you go back to page 5, the same scenario happened. On page 5,
Bring us to page 5. Let's look at
page 4, we can see the member for Jimara moved that record of votes and the proceeding, etc. And if you look at page 5, where the honorable member for Central Badibu delivered a statement on the matters of the day, pursuant to clause 51 of the standing orders on the alarming rate of the maternal death in the country. The following members who have made the contribution, if you look at his name, is not here, because we do understand that he is one who moved the motion. If you go on page 13, the same thing is there. On page 13, Honorable nominated member Ndeyasin Seka seconded the motion. If you go on page 15, where the members' names are captured who have taken part in the debate, you will see that you will not see the name of Honorable Ndeyasin Seka. So if that trend has to continue, if you come to page 18, if the member of Jimara seconded the motion and took the opportunity to address the floor, I think if you go to the following members who have taken the floor, his name should not be there to avoid duplication. For consistency purpose.
Thank you. I think we were on page 19. Am I right? We were taking back to page 5. That's why, but I think we were on 19. Any corrections on 19? Yes, Joe Kadu.
Page 19, the same thing, number 8. They put only Joe Kadu, but the name is not there. Thank you.
Wherever Joe Kadu appears, we'll make sure that the name is also included. Thank you. Anything else, honorable members, on 19? 20? One meeting, please. Sabasanja.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable member for Kantora, one meeting, please.
After the list of members who took the floor, at this juncture, the Honorable Speaker invited Her Excellency the Vice. I want to propose the put Vice President to respond.
Fonyi Bintang.
Thank you very much, Speaker. For consistency purpose, when you go to the list of ministers that responded, is number 4, that the Minister for Trade and Regional Affairs, it should be regional integration. And also you go to number 7, Minister for Lands, It's not Minister for, it's Minister for Local Government and Lands. And also you go to number 12, Minister of Sports. It's Minister of Youth and Sports for consistency purpose.
Yes, Woolly East. Page 20, Woolly East. No. Fonyi Bintankar, Fonyi Kansala. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Just as the Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang highlighted, if you look at the various ministries, in some cases we have Minister for Agriculture, Minister of Interior, for and off. Can we be consistent? It's either Minister for or Minister of. Because here you have Minister for, and in another portfolio you have Minister of.
Thank you. Yes, Jimara.
Thank you very much. Under the list of ministers, the Honorable Speaker invited Her Excellency the Vice, not seeing the Vice President, but only the Vice, responded to issues. Oh, okay.
Yes, Basse, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I just want to be sure. You invited, at this juncture, the Honorable Speaker invited Her Excellency the Vice President to respond to issues. Her Excellency the Vice President responded to some of the issues. Is that not confusing?
Go back to Hansard and get the correct recording to be reflected on the proceedings. Yes, Fonyi Bondali.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The following members who took the floor, my name is not there. And I also spoke on that day. On page 19 to 20, my name is not there. Page 19 to 20, yes.
So a tag somewhere there. Yes, all you do.
Are we moving to 21? 21. Yes. Yes, on the first paragraph. At this juncture, the Honorable Speaker invited the Honorable Majority Leader and mover of the motion to respond to issues, not responded to issues, meaning we have to delete the ED and then add to respond to issues raised during the adjournment debate and wind up the debate.
Yes, Lower Fuladu West.
Second to last paragraph, those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes, noes have it. So which one? Is it the ayes have it or noes have it? Thank you. Page 21.
Thank you. Any more corrections on page 21? Yeah, let me allow the Honorable Member for Nyanija, give him a chance. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. It's just to take you back. On page 20, I'm a bit confused because the the Vice President was given the floor to respond to issues and concerns raised on behalf of the various ministers. So why have the list of ministers here that the following ministers took the floor and spoke? I think it's just a matter of taking the first sentence, then you omit the entire ministries because none of them took the floor and spoke.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I know it could be understood, but it could be better if you put the third ordinary session. That's on the adjournment debate, the second to last sentence on the first paragraph. On page 21, adjournment, on the adjournment, that paragraph, second to last sentence, where you have appreciation to High Excellency, the Vice President and the Honorable Ministers for the cooperation during the ordinary session. It could be understood that we are referring to third ordinary session, but I will prefer if you can put their third ordinary session to qualify it. Thank you.
Oyundum.
Honorable Speaker, before putting the question for the Assembly to adjourn Sinadai, the Honorable Speaker thanked both sides of the Assembly, not thanked. ED should be removed. Are you sure?
At least my records indicate that maybe you have a different version. Yes. Any more? Honorable members, any more, please? Busumbala, Larikunda Sabiji.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to take you back to page 5. I just observed something. I'm sorry anyway.
Opportunity for any afterthoughts. So it's okay.
All right, okay. Where on page 5, where it says that the following members made contributions on the statement delivered by the Honorable Member for Central Badibu. I did not take part in this, and my name is recorded. Thank you.
Yeah, Wooly East.
Thank you, Honorable. On page 21, the first line, the first paragraph, second line, where it says, at this juncture, the Honorable Speaker invited the Honorable Majority Leader, and that is corrected. Okay. So please allow me to take you to page 17. The first paragraph, the Honorable Member for Banjul South should have read Banjul North. It's Banjul North that made that proposition. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. It was observed, but hence it appears again. The question put and agreed to, the last sentence of that, those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes, noes have it. I think it's corrected. Okay, thank you. Okay.
East.
Sorry. Thank you. Page 21. On the adjournment, before putting the question for the Assembly to adjourn Sinadai, the Honorable Speaker thanked both sides of the Assembly on her behalf and registered her appreciation to Her Excellency the Vice President and Honorable Ministers for the cooperation during the third ordinary session ending. I'm not comfortable with the ending. Wouldn't it be okay when we say during the third ordinary session? Yes, ending. You can do away with the ending.
Yes, all you do.
Honorable Speaker, still on adjournment. Before putting the question for the Assembly to adjourn Sinadai, the Honorable Speaker thanked both sides of the Assembly. On her behalf. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Anything else? No? Don't say no. Any afterthoughts? It was a long document. Maybe certain pages might have escaped our attention or correction. So just flip through to ensure that we've corrected, at least to the best of our ability, everything that needs to be corrected. If no, we are satisfied. Thank you very much. It has been moved and seconded that the record of proceedings, the record of votes, and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Thursday, the 24th of September, 2020, be approved with amendments. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Thank you very much, Clerk. Can we now proceed?
Motion. Section 152(1) of the 1997 Constitution and Standing Orders 86(1). Laying of the draft 2021 estimates of revenue and expenditure of the Republic of the Gambia, 1st January to 31st December 2021, both dates inclusive, by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, National Assembly members. I would like to submit for consideration and approval by the National Assembly the estimates of revenue, recurrent and development expenditure of the Republic of the Gambia for the fiscal year 2021. Honorable Speaker, the legal basis for today's event, the presentation of the budget to the National Assembly of the Gambia, are anchored on the 1997 Constitution and the Public Finance Act of 2014. Section 152, subsection 1 of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia places an obligation on His Excellency, the President of the Republic, to instruct the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs to prepare and submit to the National Assembly at least 30 days before the end of each financial year the estimate of revenue and expenditure of the Gambia for the following year. Furthermore, Section 21, subsection 1 of the Public Finance Act equally requires the Minister to lay before the National Assembly the appropriation bill at least 30 days before the end of the financial year. So too does Section 24 of the same Act, which specifies the content of the appropriation bill documents. Consequently, these relevant documents are now incorporated into the estimates of revenue and expenditure being presented to this August National Assembly today. By the same token, and still reflecting on the legal requirements for the national budgeting process, Section 152, subsection 1(8) of the Constitution similarly obligates the National Assembly within a maximum period of 14 days after receiving the estimates of revenue and expenditure to consider and approve the estimates. It is also worthy to note that allied to the foregoing, the Public Finance Act provides under Section 27 of the National Assembly for the National Assembly to appoint temporarily and permanently a corps of technical staff to assist in gathering information, making research and analysis on issues pertinent to its deliberation and resolutions on the budget submitted by the Minister of Finance. Honorable Speaker, the central premise of the 2021 budget is to build further better in an era of COVID-19 while reaffirming the Gambia's commitment to the ongoing National Development Plan NDP 2018 to 2021, as well as the Global Sustainable Development Goals SDGs 2030. Indeed, in our contemporary socio-economic landscape, and as we formulate this 2021 budget, COVID-19 has emerged as the single most important parameter and challenge to our development ideals, manifesting, among others, the capacity to significantly and adversely affect economic performance and the outlook of various economic indicators. It is against this backdrop that the 2021 budget is designed to effectively respond and serve as both a mitigation and adaptation tool with emphasis on accelerating the pace of economic recovery in the Gambia. In addition to promoting economic diversification, the 2021 budget also emphasizes early and enterprise recovery, competitiveness, harnessing the opportunities arising from the remnants of COVID-19, and ultimately ensuring inclusive growth where no one is left behind. Honorable Speaker, the coronavirus pandemic has negatively impacted growth prospects across the globe and dampened initial optimistic growth forecasts from the pre-COVID-19 era. The case of the Gambia is no exception, with a contraction of growth rates taking the country off the sustained increasing growth path it has been on since 2017. Preliminary analysis of the macroeconomic impact of the pandemic on the Gambian economy indicates that there is a significant slowdown in GDP growth, a decline in tax revenue, an increase in health expenditure, as well as multiple stressors on the 2020 budget arising from inter alia relief support from vulnerable individuals and an economic stimulus package for businesses. The smaller growth projections for Gambia are also based on the shocks associated with the closure of all the points of entry, notably the airport and the land borders, the lack of tourism-related activities which have collectively crippled the tourism sector and stifled economic activities throughout the country. In essence, domestic growth rates for 2021 have been revised downwards from 6.3% to negative 1.5%, with an anticipated 3% of GDP loss in tax revenue for the fiscal year. This is a significant decline from the 6.2% GDP growth rate in 2019. To make matters more worrisome, these estimates are expected to further wane if the spread of the virus worsen in the coming few months in a manner similar to the second wave of COVID-19 infections currently being experienced in most of Europe and in the United States of America. The slowdown in global growth remains a concern for the Gambia. Travel restrictions and containment measures that were previously put in place to reduce the spread of the virus are major variables to consider in assessing the real impact of the pandemic on growth. It is estimated that the effect will be temporary as restrictions on mobility are being relaxed. The world economy would recover momentum and domestic GDP would return to the accelerated growth path it was on prior to the outbreak of the pandemic. With the domestic economy reopening to tourism just in time for the upcoming tourist season and businesses and markets resuming normal operations, it is hopeful that economic activities will improve in the short to medium term. The industry sector is projected to decline from a 14.3% in 2019 to 5.8% in 2020. This is due to a decline in the mining, quarrying, and construction subsectors which are impacted by the pandemic, as major works and mining activities were halted for most of the year. Meanwhile, the service sector is projected to incur the sharpest decline from a positive 6.8% in 2019 to negative 6.8% in 2020. This is as a result of the devastating impact the coronavirus pandemic had on tourism and hospitality sector, given that this vital sector was primarily shut down from April to October this year. Despite this negative growth in most sectors, there appears to be a silver lining in the agricultural sector, which is projected to register a positive outcome and assume a counter-cyclical role to tourism. Unlike 2019, when the country experienced delayed rainfall and low crop productivity, the favorable weather conditions and early distribution of farming inputs during this 2020 agricultural season are likely to boost crop production. The sector is thereby projected to grow from a negative 1.3% in 2019 to a positive 3.1% in 2020. Honorable Speaker, on monetary policy, The inflation rate is projected to decline from 7.1% in 2019 to 6.5% in 2020. The higher inflation rate in 2019 was due to several factors, including one-time hike in postal charges in March 2019 and an increase in food price associated with the Ramadan and a low food harvest. Meanwhile, the 2020 inflation rate is anchored on a stable exchange rate and increased domestic food supply supported by government intervention to promote agriculture and a sound monetary and fiscal policy implementation. The exchange rate in 2020 has remained flexible to allow for adjustment to market fundamentals with limited interventions from government. The lack of activities within the tourist sector and the circulation of foreign exchange in the economy, coupled with a weaker demand for foreign exchange by businessmen as their imports decline, has impacted the exchange rate. Nevertheless, the significant amount of budget support received this year has curbed the negative impact that would have ordinarily occurred. As a result, the outlook of price pressure has started to ease and the underlying inflation remains broadly subdued. This is expected to continue in the medium term, premised on the continued stability of the exchange rate, well-anchored inflation expectations, and moderate variations in global food prices. Honorable Speaker, on the fiscal front, domestic revenue collection is expected to increase from $11.8 billion, that's equivalent to $228.2 million US dollars in 2019, to $12.8 billion, that's equivalent to $247.5 million US dollars projected for 2020. Despite the coronavirus pandemic, the Gambia Revenue Authority has been able to scale up efficiency in tax administration. Total grants increased from $4.8 billion, equivalent to $92.8 million US dollars in 2019, to an expected $8.1 billion, that's equivalent to $156.7 million US dollars in 2020. The significant increase in grants, mainly in the area of budget support, is due to the support received from development partners to help ease the burden of the coronavirus pandemic on the people of the Gambia. Total expenditure is expected to increase significantly from $15.1 billion, that is equivalent to $292.1 million US dollars in 2019, to $22.1 billion, that's equivalent to $427.5 million US dollars in 2020. All expenditure subcomponents have increased significantly during the course of the year. Much of it is due to additional expenditure on goods and services and capital development intended to combat the devastating impact of the coronavirus pandemic. As articulated by the recently concluded debt sustainability analysis, DSA, conducted by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs and the IMF, the Gambia remains in debt distress as its current debt levels becomes unsustainable. Prudent fiscal measures, therefore, needs to be taken by the government to ensure that debt levels are reduced to sustainable levels. Honorable Speaker, notwithstanding, there is a more positive element to the debt situation as the G20 Debt Service Suspension Initiative offers relief to eligible low-income countries' unofficial bilateral debt service payments, principal and interest due between May and December 2020. Basically, the payments covered are suspended, not forgiven, within 1 year grace period followed by a repayment period of 3 years and a neutral net present value structure. The DSSI, which provided a relief of $287.24 million, is equivalent to $5.5 million US dollars in debt service payment for 2020 fiscal year is intended to increase fiscal space to accommodate higher spending on coronavirus pandemic relief. In total, this initiative will yield a savings of $4.7 billion, equivalent to $90.9 million in debt service deferral over the next 5 years, that is 2020 to 2024. Honorable Speaker, on the external front, the current account estimate for the period 2020 stands at a deficit of $71.8 million, that's equivalent to $3.71 billion, from a deficit of $46 million, that's equivalent to $2.4 billion in 2019. The widening of the deficit in the goods accounts reflects the increase in imports owing to the rise in economic activities within the construction subsector and a demand for oil imports. However, exports are forecasted to decline to $124.5 million, equivalent to $6.43 billion in 2020, compared to $202.5 million, that's equivalent to $10.46 billion in 2019, or by 38.0%, mainly triggered by a decline in cashew and timber trade. Honorable Speaker, reading the insightful prose of a British writer, we are all in the same storm, we are all in the same boat. Some are on a super yacht, some have just one oar, but it sums up in my mind the philosophical frame from which the Gambia approached its 2021 budget. Despite the significant obstacles that COVID-19 has placed on our global development trajectory, it is a generational opportunity for self-reflection and for utilizing our unique means to build a resilient people, resilient economy, and resilient partnership, whilst interlacing this all with an adaptive planning model that is agile and also responsive to exogenous shocks, uncertainties, and fragile multilateral systems. While striving for equilibrium and avoiding dislocation within our fiscal space, the 2021 budget aims to stimulate economic recovery through practical and tangible support to all sectors of the economy. The budget also reaffirms our national commitment to leave no one behind by enhancing our social protection response programs. As earlier mentioned, the 2021 budget will place emphasis on social service delivery. This will include additional expenditure on priority areas such as drugs, medical supplies for our hospitals across the country, vaccines for our infants, and the rehabilitation of major health centers across the country. In what could have been viewed as a revolutionary, reformist, and a practical demonstration of innovating financing, government will, in 2021 budget, take bold steps to capacitate rural communities, particularly through the Program for Accelerated Community Development and Sustainable Infrastructure Development. Implemented through local government councils, PACD aims to improve access to basic social services for rural population through the establishment of socio-economic infrastructure, while also promoting the involvement of local actors in the economy and social development of our localities. Infrastructure development, in particular roads infrastructure, is also featured meaningfully in this 2021 budget. The government has already commenced the implementation of several key roads projects such as Nyomi Hakalang Road, Sabasanja Road, Basse Fatoto, Koina, the Salum Nyanija Road, Kaleng Bushtown Road, the Basse Yorubawa Road, just to name a few. Also noteworthy at this point is the fact that unlike previous periods, where government will primarily finance road projects through development partners, most of the road infrastructure being implemented through the 2021 budget will be financed from government from government JLF coffers. Also critical to this discourse is the increasing inclination to sustainably convert borrowing into infrastructure, productive assets, and not other less profitable consumption. Honorable Speaker, total revenues and grants in 2021 is projected to reach $25.76 billion, that is equivalent to $498.3 million, which represents a minimal growth of 5% over the 2021 figure of $24.4 billion, that's equivalent to $471.9 million. This increment is mainly attributed to project grants projected to come from our development partners, which is expected to reach $8.8 billion, that's equivalent to $170.2 million, compared to $8.1 billion, that's equivalent to $156.7 million in 2020. Meanwhile, total tax revenue is projected to marginally increase by 5% to $12.2 billion, that's equivalent to $235.9 million, compared to $11.6 billion, equivalent to $224.8 million in 2020. While non-tax revenue is projected to decrease by 23% to $1.5 billion, equivalent to $29.59 million, compared to $2 billion, and that's equivalent to $38.6 million in 2020. The 2021 budget will factor budget support amounting to $3.2 billion, that's equivalent to $61.9 million from our development partners, compared to $2.7 billion, that's equivalent to $52.2 million in 2020. The total budget support expected from the European Union in 2021 is 13.5 million euros, that's equivalent to $224.4 million, whereas an additional $7 million equivalent to $135.396 million is expected to come from the African Development Bank, and $20 million that's equivalent to $386.8 million is from the World Bank. Honorable Speaker, expenditure and financing. Total expenditure and net lending is projected to increase from $28.3 billion, that's equivalent to $547.4 million in 2020, to $31.9 billion, that's equivalent to $617 million in 2021, representing a growth of 12%. The bulk of this is related to capital expenditure, more specifically the funding of various road projects across the country. Personnel emoluments are projected to also increase from $4.4 billion, that's equivalent to $85.1 million in 2020, to $4.9 billion, that's equivalent to $94.7 million in 2021. The increase in PEs is as a result of additional 2,000 teachers being recruited for the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, payment of allowances to election officers, as well as factoring yearly increment based on promotions. Other current non-interest expenditure is estimated to expand by 4%, that is from $18.28 billion is equivalent to $353.5 million in 2020, to $18.97 billion, that's equivalent to $366.9 million in 2021. This growth mainly stems from the social sectors, that is health and education in particular, transfers to agencies and expenses associated with the upcoming voter registration and presidential elections. Meanwhile, capital expenditure is expected to register a growth of 88% to $4.9 billion, equivalent to $94.7 million in 2021, from $2.6 billion equivalent to $50.3 million in 2020, mainly as a result of the upcoming OIC infrastructure projects and other road constructions, rural and urban roads under the Ministry of Works, Transport and Infrastructure. Debt interest payment is projected to reach $3.08 billion, equivalent to $59.6 million, and will consume around 22% of government's domestic revenue, tax and non-tax, in 2021. Overall, debt service interest payments plus amortization is projected to reach $5.97 billion, that's equivalent to $115.5 million in 2021, from $7.7 billion, that's equivalent to $148.9 million in 2020, thereby registering a drop of 22%. This is due to debt deferral negotiated with some of our multilateral creditors. In terms of financing the deficit, domestic borrowing is projected to reach $3.4 billion, that's equivalent to $66.7 million in 2021, compared to $2.2 billion, that's equivalent to $43.7 million in 2020, whereas capital expenditure is expected to increase to $1.7 billion, that's equivalent to $32.9 million in 2021. On foreign borrowing, $4.22 billion, that's equivalent to $81.6 million will be borrowed in 2021 to finance development projects, compared to the $4.4 billion equivalent to $78.1 million borrowed in 2020. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I would like to invite reflection on truism that the crafting of this 2021 budget is being done under a very unusual and difficult social and economic circumstances. Premise on our current challenges, we can expect that 2021 would require a lot of sacrifices. However, in a paradox, 2021 provides opportunities for innovation in all aspects of our national economic and for leveraging the potentials of digitalization to transform our businesses, create an IT-savvy populace, and restructure sectors worst hit by COVID-19 to make them more resilient. Our intention now is to place our energy in the pursuit of local solutions to our economic challenges, achieve greater value addition, establish sustainable domestic value chains, and diversify production and expand our export base. 2021 promises to be transformational. It will be a revolution, and despite the gloomy clouds associated with COVID-19, our 2021 national budget can place us on a path to becoming a highly productive nation. It is to pursue this noble national development agenda that I therefore respectfully submit the estimates of revenue and expenditure, recurrent and development expenditure for the fiscal year 2021 for consideration and approval by the National Assembly. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Any seconder? Yes, Honorable Member for Nyanija.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion. Thank you.
It has been moved, honorable members, and seconded that this honorable assembly do consider the draft 2021 estimates of revenue and expenditure of the government of the Gambia, January 1st to 31st December 2021, both days inclusive. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it, and I wish to thank all honorable members. Now, honorable members, the estimates of revenue and expenditure of the government of the Gambia is an important document. It sets out the macroeconomic variables of the country in relationship to revenue and expenditure of the government and the programs it intends to execute to improve the living conditions of citizens for the year 2021. The document therefore requires our thorough scrutiny and consideration. Now, cognizant of this reality, the sitting will be adjourned to give us adequate time to review the document for the consideration and debate proper on the 2021 draft estimates, which is scheduled to begin on Monday, the 16th of November, 2020. But before putting the question, I want to announce for the general information of honorable members that the 2020 pre-budget analysis training and consultation will commence immediately after this session is adjourned at the Paradise Suites Hotel, and it is scheduled from the 12th to the 14th of November, 2020. And honorable members, may I kindly urge all of us to attend this important training and consultation, which will enable us to thoroughly scrutinize and digest this very important document. Sorry. Yeah, he's just informing me that the honorable member for Serekunda has been raising his tag, but I was following a procedure, so I couldn't have interrupted the procedure. Yes, honorable.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to make a motion without notice on the standing order 53E. There is a motion for the committal of a motion to committee or committees of the National Assembly. A motion has been made for us to consider the annual estimates. And if you will allow me, Honorable Speaker, I'll continue, I'll proceed.
That last year we followed the same procedure, but it was after the debate that it was...
Just allow me, Honorable Speaker.
You remember?
Yes,
You will recall.
Hello?
Yeah, you will recall that it was done last year and there was a motion. So probably it's just the timing now.
Well, that's why I want to remedy, that we understand our standing orders and that the ministers also understand our standing orders. If you allow me, I'll proceed, Honorable Speaker.
I am just saying that if you recollect, last year...
Yes, Honorable Speaker,
yeah.
My position is different from the position that we announced last year. My position is different from the position we announced last year. Honorable Speaker, the reason why it is essential to make this motion is that I have... okay.
This section.
Okay, yes, it's 53E. Yes. That a motion has been made for consideration of the annual estimates, and I will want to proceed to explain. Honorable Speaker, our standing orders has created procedures on budgetary sessions. And Standing Order 82 creates a basis that we have departed from somehow, and we can only remedy by making this motion to commit the annual estimates to the relevant committees, as we have already planned to do in order to consider them. Honorable Speaker, as far as the standing orders are concerned, we should begin the process of looking at the estimates before, in fact, the third ordinary session. Standing Order 81, paragraph 3 reads, the minister must make the notification required under paragraph 2 of the standing orders at least 21 days before the third ordinary session of the Assembly. And what does paragraph 2 state? It states that in each year, the Vice President or the Minister must notify the Finance and Public Accounts Committee of the following: the date by which the Vice President or the Minister will lay the draft budget proposals on behalf of the government in accordance with Standing Orders 82.2. The date not later than which the Vice President or Minister will lay the annual estimates. The date by which the Vice President or the Minister will table the annual budget statement in accordance with Standing Order 87, that is the annual appropriation bill. So in essence, Honorable Speaker, this is saying that there is need under paragraph 1 for the Finance and Public Accounts Committee and the government to agree to a protocol on the administrative arrangements for the scrutiny of the annual draft budget and other related budgetary matters. Honorable Speaker, it is important that we proceed to paragraph 4 of 82. So, paragraph 4 of 82, Honorable Speaker, we can see that the minister here again will continue to prepare the ground for the laying of the draft budget proposals. Now, the procedure that is adopted, or that should be adopted under our standing orders, cannot be adopted now, because it's a long procedure of the draft proposals, which we will have to redefine, in fact, and interpret. And what is relevant now, Honorable Speaker, is that we are dealing with the estimates as they are presented, and not the draft budgets as presented on our standing orders. Now, in that regard, I would say that if we are to do things that will be in line with what we did last year, but legitimize it through this motion that I wish to make, we would require then to put all that aside and legitimize it by our own standing orders, that is to make a proposal for us to make a motion for us to refer the annual budget to the motion that has been made to the relevant committees of the National Assembly for scrutiny. And after that scrutiny, the Finance and Public Accounts Committee will prepare a consolidated base for that, and then we move on with the debate on it. And that is why I'm saying, instead of preparing ourselves for a debate, let's cut down the process and do precisely what will be better for us. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable, you have already moved a motion which we need, and the procedure needs to be followed. That is for it to be seconded. But I just want to inform you that if you look at the agenda, there is indicated there the
16th to 28th.
The 16th of November to the 28th for consideration by the committees of the relevant committees of the different components of the budget to the relevant committees, and then followed by the consideration. I agree with you. You're just formalizing. We're just formalizing the procedure. But last year it was done, although then we had not adopted our standing orders. Am I right? Yes, I think so. So what, in essence, is just to formalize it, but it was actually done. Let us allow a seconder, and then we'll proceed accordingly. If the motion had not been moved, we would have just gone by the standing orders as provided and as you have read. Any second?
I second the motion. I second the motion.
Sorry, let me take a seconder, Honorable. Honorable Member for Lower Fuladu West.
I rise to second the motion.
Yes, it has been moved and seconded that the draft estimates be referred to the committees, the relevant committees of the National Assembly vis-a-vis the sector components, who will then forward their proposals to FPAC for consideration and for report, as was done. Those in favor, please say aye. Can't hear you. Those in favor, please say aye. Yes, those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. So it's hereby referred to the different committees. And I think the letter will now have to issue a new letter to validate it now that it has been formally moved and agreed, adopted by the Honorable House, but it was actually done. Thank you very much. And on that note, are we all together? Yes. On that note, I now put the question, be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned until Monday, the 16th of November, 2020. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. The Assembly now stands adjourned till Monday, the 16th of November.
23rd
Sorry. The adjournment will be on the 23rd November, not 16, 23rd, as per the agenda. Yes. So I'll have to put the question again. I'm sorry. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned till Monday, 23rd of November, 2020. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. The Assembly now stands adjourned till Monday, 23rd of November, 2020 at 10 a.m. prompt.
But the committee meetings, sir?
No, we are allowing the week for the motion that has been approved by the Assembly. Yes, we are allowing that week to do the consultation, the different committees. So I think we're all together. So we now adjourn. So we stand adjourned. Thank you. The clerk will issue the necessary notification. Office of the clerk, sorry.